Good morning, church. We're going to be in John chapter 6 today, and I believe John 6 is a terribly difficult chapter full of, I think it's difficult because it's so clear, and it's not like some hidden teachings that are in this chapter, and the challenge we have is wrapping our heads around what we've heard. Kind of like when Jesus is talking to Nicodemus, and Nicodemus just can't get a grasp of what Jesus is trying to communicate, or when he's talking to the woman at the well about how he is living water and can give living water, and she doesn't understand, and Nicodemus doesn't understand what it means to be born again. Now the Jews don't understand what it means that his body is food and his blood is drink. And it's so challenging. It's like a culmination of the really difficult things that Jesus is talking about. And this is the culmination of this great discourse starting in verse 60. Therefore, many of his disciples heard this. They said, "This teaching is hard. Who can accept it?" Jesus, knowing in himself that his disciples were complaining about this, asked them, "Does this offend you? Then what if you were to observe the Son of Man ascending to where he was before? The Spirit is the one who gives life. The flesh doesn't help at all. The words that I have spoken to you are spirit and are life, but there are some among you who don't believe." For Jesus knew from the beginning those who did not believe, and the one who would betray him. He said, "This is why I told you that no one can come to me unless it is granted to him by the Father." From that moment, many of his disciples turned back and no longer accompanied him. So Jesus said to the 12, "You don't want to go away too, do you?" Simon Peter answered, "Lord, to whom will we go? You have the words of eternal life. We have come to believe and know that you are the Holy One of God." Oh, there's so much. We don't, in 5 minutes, can't even put a scratch in this. But let's start with the source of your belief. This is why I told you that no one can come to me unless it is granted to him by the Father. Faith starts with God. Jesus' teaching throughout John is very clear that God is the God is the initiator of all of our belief. And so if we have those in our life who we desire to see come to Christ, all we can do is pray for them. I don't mean all we can do, but it begins with prayer, and it begins with sharing the gospel, believing that God can initiate that faith. Paul saw faith initiated in the sharing of the good news, and that's how God chose to work out his call, and nobody can come unless he has been called by the Father. And then we have that idea of belief that when God challenges us, we don't want to follow anymore. When it's too difficult, we want to go away and say, that's too much. I can't tolerate that. And so we have to be resolved that even when the teachings of our God challenge us and make us say, "I don't get this, I don't understand," that our faith in him and his goodness goes beyond our ability to comprehend. Because what does it say about us if we would only have faith in that which we can fully grasp or fully understand? And what would that say about God if we could fully understand and conform him to our will, all upside down and backwards? So be conformed to the good pattern of God. Wrestle with these teachings that are hard to get our heads around and pursue truth, because James says if we lack wisdom, we can ask. So let's ask, say, "God, I don't understand. Help me understand this teaching and how to apply it to my life." and that will draw us into that deeper relationship with Him. I love you, church. I look forward to talking to you soon again.